Welcome back to The Edge. Content.
Google.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Meow, meow, meow.
Knew that was going to happen. All right, content decay is exposed. Alphabet is still eyeing HubSpot, and Google unveils AI overviews in the U.S. What the world does that mean for SEOs? You're listening to News from the Edge for the week of May 13th, 2024, here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
Yeah, we were looking at the Google I.O. This week. Google! There's
Google.
plenty.
Google.
That's not going to go away for the rest of the show, folks. Just telling you. This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Erin Sparks. I'm the owner of Site Strategic, digital marketing firm here in Indianapolis, Indiana, covering SEO and digital marketing news separately from our interview series that we drop each and every week. So check that one out as well. Have some really good interviews with some fantastic digital marketing influencers from around the planet. But this is the news from the Edge, and we're talking about Google as well as a lot of other things.
Google.
Check out everything over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. This is the Site Strategics digital marketing news desk of Edge of the Web, although Mordy still doesn't believe that exists. We're proud to have Site Strategics as the title sponsor of Edge of the Web. We're one of the top SEO companies here in the Midwest. Talk about what we do over here a little bit later on the show, but check us out. Go ahead and Google us at Site Strategics or a number of other phrases that will find us, like SEO companies in Indianapolis, right? That'll get us there. Okay. Joining me this week to get his take on the news that's not all Google is Mordy Oberstein. He's the head of SEO branding over at Wix. Mordy, how are you?
I am dazed and confused.
Just from yesterday's Google I.O. or just is that a consistent
Just
baseline?
from the intro to that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm a boomer, and that guy was famous. People love him. Greg Finn was saying, "Oh yeah, that guy's great. He got me through COVID. He's some kind of DJ dude."
Yeah.
All I know is felt like I was on an acid trip on a train straight to hell.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, the robes that they were wearing around, then they started shooting robes with a robe cannon out into the audience.
Bet you I would have caught one.
Yeah.
If I was there.
Oh, man. And even the intro music was just...
It's a little... I don't understand. I'm confused. I'm still confused. Like I said, dazed and confused.
Get off my lawn, you darn dirty kids, with your acid rock music. It was crazy. It was trippy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And
it was an acid rock, though.
It really was. And in the intro and the animations were also in that same vein. So, all right. That said, want to get some news before we get to the I.O. announcements. Let's get a couple pieces of news out.
Whatever. Who cares about any of that stuff?
Well, anybody want to know about content decay?
Who cares? SGE.
Oh, yeah. By the way, they announced that SGE was actually going to be released everywhere, right? Didn't you say that it wasn't going to be released? Something
no, I didn't say it wasn't going to be released. I said it's not.
Oh! We'll absolutely grab some clips there.
I said it's not a big deal.
Oh, gotcha. You said it was never coming out of dry dock. I remember that.
I don't think I said that. I
mean,
if I did, I completely deny it.
Okay. All right. We will absolutely find a few clips just to push back here. Anyway, over at Search Engine Journal from Roger Monti, he's writing an article about a recent John Mueller and Lizzi Sassman podcast over on Search Off the Record from Google. They're talking about content decay. All right. So what is content decay? What people mean when they talk about content decay is a slow drop in search traffic. And a slow drop in search traffic is not a definition, it's just kind of a symptom of the actual problem, which is declining user interest, okay? Declining user interest in a topic or a product or a service, virtually any entity. It's something that is normal and expected, and it's just a digital representation of the gestalt, the user focus and interest moving away. So how does user interest dwindle? It's a long-standing phenomenon that's older than the internet, says Roger. It's fashion, it's trends, it's music, it's style, it's topics that come and go. Okay, so the typical reasons for declining user interest, perceptions of the topic have changed, seasonality, technological disruption, the way words are used has changed, and popularity of topic has actually waned as well. So there's a lot of reasons, Roger says, about possible drop in traffic. The decay is happening to user interest in a topic. Traffic slows down because Google introduced a new navigational feature. Now check this out. This is why I pulled this article up, actually. Traffic slows because Google introduces a new rich result. So here's the deal, guys. We are about to be in SGE, where the tapestry, the real estate is changing even more. Is that going to inadvertently change the interest level of users in certain topics if it's not only answering things quickly, but it's actually picking up content that should not be in that generated bubble box or what have you? Could this very well be a potential detriment to the momentum and trajectory of topics if Google and the AI space gets in the way and tries to figure out what it is and make something different than what the actual interest is? So I try to dive into this with a connection to SGE. Mordy, do you have any thoughts on that, or you just want to move on?
No, the SGE part, not so much, but in general, like content decay, it's funny, like, I don't know, they pretend like they don't know what that is, but okay. But it kind of makes sense over time. Like if you're talking about, I don't know, how to win a professional baseball game. So the approach to playing baseball or winning a baseball game is completely different now than it was 10 years ago. They rely on analytics and the pitcher does this and not that anymore.
Sure.
So if you had an article about what a professional baseball manager should do to win a baseball game, you should see it decay over time because the topic just changes and evolves.
Yep, absolutely.
It's
And
normal. You have to refresh your content. That's not like a novel idea, no? I
no.
feel like that's not-
And along with that, that should be a discipline for all content producers, is to be able to keep that content that they've written years ago fresh, coming back around with better data, new takes on things. If you have written something that is not associated to new trends, new products, new concepts, right? We were just talking about this. Check this out. We were talking about getting some programmable sunshades in the office here, right? Which is actually
Oh, cool. Yeah, we have those at Wix.
a film that goes on the window. That's a smart window, basically, and it will dial in a level of opacity based on the sun that's coming in, right?
Oh, that's cool. That's
it
what I
won't
thought.
actually
we
move.
have, we just have a thing that goes up and down by itself
Right.
based on the sun.
So what we know is that this stuff was 10 years ago very novel and very expensive, right? We also now know right now the technology is much better and the solutions much less expensive. So if you had an article that was dated like that, you're obviously not going to be as relevant as other new articles that are dialed into changes in the industry. So that's what we're really trying to pull out of this is you got to know your industry, know what you're talking about. And if you have topical nature sewn into this content, you've got to have that inventory because it could very well be moved down, not only from user interest, but from Google's perspective of how relevant your content is.
Google.
I thought it was interesting.
Google.
It said this has been around for thousands of years. You know what the first content decays was? Moses broke the tablets.
Ooh,
Oh,
damn.
First examples of content.
Jacob went biblical on
wow.
us.
That wasn't decay. He was like
Destruction.
rewrite.
That's a rewrite.
Try again.
That was error correction
Go
right
back.
there. He was autofilling.
Rewrite this.
No, but I mean, it makes perfect sense. This is exactly what trends are. But if it comes down to visibility on your site, if you're not paying attention to valuable topical information and changing it and adjusting it, then you're going to be subject to decay naturally, right?
Makes sense. Yeah, you have a blog post like the best way to consume a video is VHS. Like,
I still want those laser discs back, man. All right, so here's something that's not natural, but they're still trying to go after it from search engine land. From a new Adigbola, there's a report here. Alphabet still wants to acquire HubSpot. There's still an ongoing acquisition discussion that's reported between Alphabet and, which is Google's parent company, and HubSpot. There's no deal yet reached, but there is a potential deal. They've engaged in talks with HubSpot to discuss terms of a potential acquisition. No agreement has been reached, sources told Bloomberg. So what's the deal here? This is a full-on CRM and a marketing tool, right? Is there a CRM that Google has? Absolutely not. what would be the advantages of full-on acquisition of a CRM for Google, right? We certainly have a much closer tie-in to the ad platforms, right, as well as even the search platforms themselves. But isn't that a little bit too close for comfort whenever we're dealing with sales and the disparate platform that is Google Ads? If they are getting closer and closer to our own sales funnel, that we don't keep that separate and we don't manage it separately, could we very well be giving more information about that prospect's interest that could be utilized and possibly poached into other areas of interaction with that prospect that we would be unaware of? See what I'm saying is that all of a sudden Google's got full-on ties to this domain's email, not even a Gmail, but this domain's email, this contact information, and then it could very well use that behavior, that transactional information for its own devices. Is that something we should be worried about?
I don't know. I would ask SGE for the answer.
That's Gemini. It knows. So
Everything.
in the article, the strategic rationale is acquiring HubSpot, which focuses on smaller business customers, could help fill a gap in Alphabet's offerings as it aims to compete against rivals like Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce in the CRM software space. So Microsoft already has a CRM. I'm just a little bit concerned here about what this could be. There are some possible antitrust concerns. There's no update on the recent talks of the Google antitrust case. But that said, I don't know. Somebody could very well take this opinion and kind of go with it, going, all right, you're too close for our comfort on knowing our own clients' behavior. Anyway, there's my take on that. Anybody else want to jump in on the thing? No? Yeah? No? Yeah? All right, fine. Moving on. Hey.
IO.
All right. Before we get there, I got a question for you, Mordy. How do you create subject matter expertise that Google's looking for? How do you do that?
I just go to the AI overview and just ask it to do it for me.
I see. Well, I wouldn't recommend that, but it could be a tactic. It could. And, a lot of people are going to be doing that. However, it's actually a lot easier to interview your own subject matter experts. Learn from them, deep dive with them, and have some natural interview process to be able to pick up some fantastic nuggets of gold in that interview. What do you think about that?
That's crazy talk. Just let the AI do it.
All right. Well, that's
talking about work.
It's work. It's hard work. Learning is hard work. I know.
Not only is it work, you want hard work?
It's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm abusing our
IO, AI.
Well, check out Site Strategics. That's what we do over here. We actually develop an entire interview methodology for interviewing subject matter experts, transcribing that content, and then curating that into blog posts, content, structural content, social media, video content, and the like. So go on over to edgeofthewebradio.com/site and check out what we do over there and inquire. We'd be happy to sit down with an hour of free consultation, talk about what we could do for you. All right. IO. From Search Engine Land.
Whatever you want.
Google rolls out. First word out of my mouth, and then you hit the button, huh? All right. So Google rolls out AI overviews in the U.S., with more countries coming soon. So Google I/O was this week as a conference that Google holds on each and every year and announces some product updates. And this surprised us a bit because on top of everything else, guys, they rolled out announcing their Gemini product 45 minutes prior to the OpenAI announcement of their new ChatGPT 4.0 product. So we've got some AI wars that are happening here. But that said, what is an AI overview?
Can I say something about that for a second?
Yeah, hit me.
Can I interrupt you?
Always.
Now I'm asking to interrupt you, which is a level above just interrupting you.
This is a special moment.
Yeah,
folks.
wow.
Yeah. I get it, the OpenAI thing, the Google thing, like, it's cool. Okay?
Yeah.
So I just dropped my mic, literally. Wow.
Wow.
For those of you who don't know, what Google and what OpenAI basically showed, pretty much the same thing in a way. You could show the AI a picture, like, on your phone, like, like, look at the ceiling, look at the wall, look at the floor, where are you? Oh, you're in hell.
They got service down there?
That's cool. Like, but also no shit.
It's T-Mobile.
So yeah, there,
Like,
it was
the example they
understanding
gave
it.
was you show the room to the AI, and the AI saw the recording equipment and said, "Oh, you must be in a recording studio."
Right,
Which is
right.
super cool. The AI can do that, but what actual value does that bring to my life? I already knew I was in a recording studio.
It was recognizing code. Briefly, as soon as you actually walked around to the screen, it actually understood not only the code, but the functionality of that series of lines of code as well, which was pretty cool,
Okay,
especially if
cool.
you're a developer and you're actually pointing it at, what is this thing doing, right? And it breaks it down and shows you exactly what those
No, but that
concepts are.
part's cool.
Yeah.
Fine. So you can use like visually, like show, like they gave an example of the math problem. You can
Yep.
circle to search and solve the problem. That's cool. I get that. That actually makes sense. But it able to like, what they were showing was it can understand X and Y and draw a conclusion that because X and Y, because you're in a room and the room has a camera and the room has lighting equipment, you must be doing a recording session. I get why that's significant and I get that why that's cool, but also at the end of the day, I already knew I was in a recording studio. So what new information did it give me?
You know what was creepy? She asked it, where did I put my glasses? And it looked
That's
around
good.
and it said it's right
That-
next to that red apple. Now,
That was the only practical implication out of half that stuff.
But is it, Morty, is it because you need to know what kind of room you're in first before you can ask it, where did I put my glasses? It's the basic steps first, right? You got to prove that we all agree on the basic stuff first before you can impress it with something.
It was
advanced.
contextually aware. It was understanding.
And the OpenAI thing, I get what they were doing. They're saying, and it's great technology, and you can probably use that technology as the basis to do something actually practically worthwhile.
But the example was kind of piss poor.
But outside of like it influencing your stock price,
Right.
unless I'm invested in your stock, why do I care right now?
Well, I mean, take this
It's
out.
establishing trust.
Take this out to the, if they are.
It's establishing trust.
Take it out into the real world, and if you take their phone around and ask the question, hey, we're looking at a shoe store, or even a commercial where they get those booths. I mean, there's things that this tool is going to jump into. Just think of this as a Google Lens on steroids, right? But it also is making calculations. It's giving contextual awareness. There is a use there, and it was kind of freaky how it was jumping to certain logical conclusions, right?
There is a use there potentially.
Yeah.
But again, with the OpenAI example of, I see the cameras, I see the lights, you're in a recording studio. I already knew that.
What happens if if you're blind, you're not using your phone, so there's that. But literally.
Well, that would actually be a practical implication. I could take the thing and say, scan this room, and be like, where are you? You're locked in a dungeon. Crap.
It sounds like the old TRS-80 command line journeys, right? Describe the room. There's an ogre in the corner, and there are doors to the left, right, and forward. Which direction do you want to go?
There is a man that looks like Tom Cruise standing next to you. Like, oh, run. Run.
So some of the upgrades that are going to be coming for this AI-powered search experience, right? And not only did Gemini and the tool inside of the phone get demoed there, but they also announced that SGE, Search Generative Experience, is now rolling out across the world, right? They've said that users have demonstrated that they like the performance like that. And I got a comment there, but some of the upgrades that they're talking about is adjustable overviews to simplify language and provide more detail, multi-step reasoning to handle complex queries and nuances, built-in planning capabilities for tasks like meal prep and vacations, AI-organized search result pages to explore ideas and inspiration, and a visual search querying through uploaded videos and images. All this, it's kind of the same thing they've always been saying, right? Especially last year. But the new Gemini model was the big announcement. But it comes down to these AI overviews that are now going to be part of the search experience. Google Search Console will have AI overviews. However, there's some debate on actually seeing all of the real estate that you'll have. So a generative experience that actually...
So you won't know, right. So it'll be the clicks that come through from the AI overview will be counted as part of your click count in Search Console, much the way a featured snippet click is. But
Right.
just like a featured snippet, you won't know that it came from the AI.
Right. But you'll see something coming through.
You'll see
So,
the click, but like, what good does that do? You don't really know where it came from.
and John Mueller actually contributed into that. So Barry was actually pointing out, where's the data? Where are we going to be able to see this data? And that's been the long-standing point, is if we get sucked into the goulash of AI on the screen, how do we know we're there? How do we know that we're getting interaction? How do we know the value of that, right?
Yeah, I'm curious because they said, oh, users love this thing, so we're gonna roll it out. But they need, like, they have all these numbers. They didn't say 90% of people who engage with the nothing. So like, do people really like it, or you had to announce it, you had to roll it out? What do you do? Not roll it out?
Yeah. Well, you got to.
But it's funny because they didn't make any upgrades to it. Like the classic, SGE or the AI overview now.
Yep.
Outside of the event planning thing, it's the same thing as it was a year ago.
So that was my
Not a
question.
year
So
ago,
this
but-
is for those of us that have been in the beta, or a lot of SEOs that have had access to it for a while. It's going to look the same.
Mhm.
So a lot of
Yeah.
listeners of this show won't see anything new.
No,
This is more of an announcement for the people who have never seen it.
never seen it, and
Yeah.
probably not going to be seeing it that often. Is in fact, 28% of queries return SGE in May, as opposed to 68% that was doing
Right.
that back in February of this year. So they have been downplaying the SGE. Now they're rolling it out. Darth Autocrat on Twitter, or X, jumped in there and said, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Move all of this AI crap over to another domain. Let the users play in that, and then you can actually get user feedback. Because what do you really, I mean, you're certainly testing, you certainly have all your interface tracking methodology, but let the voters decide, right? Give them a separate space, just like images just like maps AI.google.com, and let us play in that space. There you're going to be able to see some reality.
Yeah, we were talking about this with Barry and Greg Finn on It's New, which you can check out on the Wix SEO Hub Mondays through Thursdays. To get a
Gratuitous
daily
plug.
dose.
There we go.
Yep. Hey,
Marketer's got to market.
marketer's gonna market. Yep. And it's interesting. The numbers have gone down in terms of how, according to, I think it was Bright Edge who ran that study, right?
Yep.
So I think there's two narratives with this whole thing. One is how much SGE, or now it's called the AI overview, will you actually see?
Mm-hmm.
How often and in what way, right? It's not like, a year ago is full on SGE, the giant summary right away. Now you have to click to expand it. I heard someone mention maybe they're going to put into a panel on the side like Bing does.
Yep.
And then another narrative is, oh, we're rolling this. We're going with this. This is the wave of the future because that's good for the stock price. So I think there's two narratives. One is what's good for the SERP and the user that they actually want, and how's Google going to handle the SGE?
Right.
And then the other narrative, how is Google going to position this and spin this because the stock price wants the SGE? And I think they're just two different things. But the number's gone down for a reason. Like, it's not exactly appropriate all the time.
Correct.
I don't think that people are expanding this thing in mass when they do see it. I'll prove it to you, not prove it to you, but this thing has been out of labs for how long in the US? Like months already, no?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
2 months?
Yep.
Something like that?
Yep. Absolutely.
Has anybody ever been saying, oh, my traffic, it's gone?
No.
No. So there's your answer.
I'd love to know some of the metrics on how people are interacting with that thing, because I think you're right, is that especially as they are reducing the visibility, that it had to have something out there for spending the billions that you were paying in this, right? Some sort of AI visibility, but just watching kind of the atrophy that was in the lab's experience kind of tells you something right there. And on top
They
of it,
have to have it. Bing has it, so they have to have it.
and on top of this, coming in, they had to drop this in the water because they were also anticipating an OpenAI search engine announcement as well on Monday, right? So they were
But it didn't happen.
no, it didn't happen. But they
Yeah.
they announced their new.
I think Google knew that. I think we were just speculating.
Yeah,
I think Google knew
probably
they weren't
so.
open. Was it Google knew what they were announcing with their where am I now functionality? Because Google tried to troll them and release their own version of it 45 minutes earlier. So Google knew what was going on. They had
Absolutely.
spies.
There was
Corporate
a Wall Street Journal article on May 13th from Garrett DeVink and Zach Zerwisky. Web publishers brace for carnage.
Their whiskey. That's the name?
Cat Zerwisky.
That their whiskey. Whose whiskey is
Washington
that? That's
Post.
their whiskey.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. This is Washington Post. Web publishers brace for carnage as Google adds AI answers. So this was kind of from a out of lane, out of industry perspective, but they actually drew some interesting connections to what has been the dialogue for a while of what publishers could experience as AI starts churning up the SERP. The rollout threatens survival of millions of creators and publishers who rely on the service for traffic. Some experts argue that the addition of AI will boost the tech giants' already tight grip on the internet, ultimately ushering in a system where information is provided by just a handful of companies, quote unquote, from the Post. So if there's anything to see through this article, the non-SEO industry perspective is a little bit even more scared than we are actually right now, you know?
Yeah, because it looks scary. When Google ran it last night, first off, just to put things in perspective a little bit, in my opinion, they announced the SGE was rolling out to get it out of the way, and then they moved on for like another hour to other stuff. Then they came back to it. SGE itself hasn't seen any new development. There's nothing new about it in terms of the product itself. Most of the time they spent talking about the back end, how it works and what it'll do for users, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The only new thing, which is not even new because they tested this earlier, was the event planning thing. And then they said, oh, it has what do they call it? I have written down here because I keep forgetting the name of it. Multi-step reasoning, which sounds very much like the various mum stuff they've been talking about for years already. So old, not new.
I caught
Just new
that
name,
post.
okay?
I got that post from you.
Yeah, so it's interesting because they didn't really go further into it. They didn't really do a ton of new dev around it. That was their flagship product.
Right.
And then at the same time, they also announced, and I predicted this, just saying, humble brag, not humble brag at all. When they announced the Gemini stuff a couple of months ago, I said they're going to take that custom functionality answer and they're going to bring that to the SERP. And lo and behold, they now have an AI formatted SERP.
Yep.
Right? So wait a second. If it's all SGE, why do they spend time, money, and resources developing a AI format SERP? It's not about an answer, but it's about formatting the SERP in a way that provides you with the right way to explore the topic and the websites and the whatevers.
That's what you're explaining about an AI formatted SERP. It's that QA interaction that you're talking about. Choose your
It's
own
not even that.
adventure.
It's they have forgot the example that they showed or that Barry had. They had hold on, let me just pull it up here while I stall a little bit. A new Google feature. So the way they had it was here: adjusting AI multi-step planning abilities. No, AI organized search results. Here we go. So let's say you search for an anniversary celebration dinner places Dallas. So it spins up anniversary worthy restaurants and gives you a little list there. Then it has live music and intimate settings and gives you a different list of results there. Has romantic steakhouses, critic picks for special occasions. It breaks down the SERP into different categories of results. There's no actual AI output in terms of the content itself, per se. It's just organizing the SERP to show you the different kinds of results that you might want to see. So Google is doubling down on exploration on the one hand. It's also doubling down on just giving you the answer with the AI overview at the same time. So they kind of cancel each other out, in my opinion. You need a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Google's saying, yes, people also want the AI answer, but they do also want to be able to explore a topic. So I understand where the Washington Post is coming from,
Right.
but they're not SEO people. They're not paying attention to all the details.
Correct. No, you're absolutely right. And that's something that we really do want to make sure people understand is that just like any other article that's non-SEO, there's got to be a little bit of education along the way of what they're really talking about. And I do fear that, not fear, I do recognize that in that post, there's a number of pretty fearful comments that they were making in there. So take that with a grain of salt, folks, but we do highly recommend you look at all these articles that we are covering on the show, as well as in our newsletter as well. All right, I'm going to pivot from Google, so say bye to Google. Bye, Google.
Google. Google. Google.
So over to some AI news real quick. Like we talked about, OpenAI debuted the GPT-4o omni modal, now powering ChatGPT, and they also unveiled new voice capabilities with that. So that just came through. Okay, over at TechCrunch, there's a great article about what amenities they had in that space. The OpenAI CTO Mira Marathi said that GPT-0 provides GPT-4 level intelligence, but improves on its capabilities across multiple modalities and media. You hear the same repetition here is multimodal interaction here, right? But this is the article I really wanted to point out here. Apple is wrapping up an OpenAI deal to bring that ChatGPT, those feature sets, into iOS 18. Now check that out, is that you very well may have with your 18 operating system update, Siri is going to be fully backed and its foundation will be ChatGPT. I couldn't not laugh whenever I saw a posting on X where they said, okay, yeah, you've got ChatGPT on your Siri. Everybody's going to have girlfriends now, just like the Her movie. So
wishful thinking.
Apple at its annual Worldwide Developers Conference next month is expected to announce several AI features coming to iOS 18, which is said to have one of the biggest upgrades to the iPhone operating system in years, according to High-Tog analyst Jeff Pugh. Apple plans to run some of the features on data servers powered by its own in-house chips. Tim Cook confirmed February that Apple plans to break new ground in AI. So it's an AI war across the board here, folks, and it's coming to your phone, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, in your face.
All right, one or two. Tell me.
2.
All right, 2. I'll give you 1. Replica Studios, voice AI and text-to-speech for creators. Check this out, replicastudios.com, okay? It's a chat program, right? It's an AI speech converter for creators. It can actually provide cutting-edge text-to-speech solutions in multiple languages for creative professionals and fully licensed AI models safe for commercial use. That was what was intriguing to me, is that they're specifying that as a call to action or an amenity. Hey, this is safe for commercial use here. You're going to see more and more of that in the ecosystem of tools there. This is not a sponsored tool. This is something that I came across that was kind of interesting. So you can actually be a voice director, and it's used for audiobook producers. They have an entire audio library that is commercially safe voiceovers. Jacob, you have a thought there?
Put a lot of voice actors out of work.
Absolutely.
Make them mad.
Make them
So
real
this could take your entire text and just like make a audio version of it?
Absolutely. And on
That's
top
cool.
of that, different accents, different fluctuations, and emphasis.
That's cool. Let's say you want to make your article accessible.
Yep.
I continue to hear them get better and better, but I still
Yeah.
can always hear. The more they talk, the more I can hear, oh, that's AI.
Yeah.
I can always hear it. If it's 1 or 2 sentences, you can get away
Yeah.
with it. You really can. But if it's a paragraph, if it's a page, I can catch on.
No, absolutely.
And I don't know if everyone else can. Maybe it's because I do this a lot, but the more
Oh,
they
you're
talk,
saying you're smarter than everybody else.
I am. I really think it's time that I admit my truth, and I am smarter than everyone else.
And that was all AI, folks.
And I,
Wow. Wow.
someone had to say it.
All right. So there's a tool. Go check that out. So check out our show links as well. Briefly, just want to make sure we also give a shout out to our sponsor, InLinks. They're a continued sponsor of Edge of the Web. Did you know that entities are playing a huge role in search now? No longer is it keywords. It's key things, concepts. So optimizing your content around keywords is a thing of the past. Go over to InLinks and be able to check out what they can do on that front. They can give you some great content briefs where you can create some very informed articles from research of hand-selected URLs that you're wanting to compete with. It also has some great social media content creators from your own content, and an internal link management tool that is bar none one of the best on the planet. So check out InLinks over at edgeofthewebradio.com/InLinks to claim your free InLinks account. And on top of that, use the code EDGE and you'll get 20% off of your pricing for, I think, 3 months. But we'll make sure that we've got that in the show notes. All right. Barry Blast, and then we're out of here. Check it out. Woo! And Barry was on top of it for that Google I.O. Was he out there? I'm sure he was.
No, he was not there.
He wasn't there? He didn't get invited?
No, he got
Damn.
invited, but he didn't go.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Good for him. As we stated before, article over at Search Engine Roundtable, and Barry's always bringing the heat whenever it comes to content that's focused on SEO, as well as Google, as well as
Barry's
Bing.
always bringing the heat.
He's always bringing
He's
the
hot.
heat. You said it. You said it. All right. Google tried to steal OpenAI's thunder 45 minutes prior to OpenAI's.
Cover this.
That I know. I just wanted to make sure you guys saw it in the link.
Okay.
From Google, video pages need to be super obvious for video play pages. Now, we've covered this before, but we're doubling down on that. If you don't know what we're talking about here, if you have a video...
And you don't have any videos on your pages.
If you got a video that's not front and center as a video page, if it's like a video that is accompanied a product detail page, you're not going to get the video snippets that you're looking for. You have to have it as a main focus, as well as content around that
You want to
video.
show up on the video tab.
Yeah, exactly. It won't show
You
up.
get nothing.
You got nothing.
Can I reinterpret what you said? Unless you're YouTube, you're not getting any video stuff showing up in the video search tab.
That is actually
Because
something that happened.
I've
there.
seen plenty of content that's basically, a video. This podcast is basically a video, a couple of notes.
Yeah.
It's mainly a video page.
Right, exactly. And we have a video down there. Do we get video from that? No, because it's got content
You're
around
not
there.
YouTube.
And I also saw if you take YouTube out and replace it with a different video embed, your video snippets also go down as well. There's been a series of tests out there. All right, so last article. Check this out. Wanted to bring this around for your input, Morty. Google search confirms de-indexing vast amounts of URLs, right, in February. So this was all part of pre-March core update rollout here, right? Gary Each from Google confirmed that Google has suddenly de-indexed a vast amount of URLs from the Google search index in the past February here. He said that this was done because Google's perception of the site has changed. He said this at the SERP conf back in mid-April. Gary said on stage around the 1040 mark, since February, where suddenly we just decided that we were de-indexing a vast amount of URLs on a site just because of the perception, or our perception of the site has changed. Okay, I think he was speaking of a specific site, not collectively de-indexing URLs here. But what do you think about that take, that the perception of Google has changed about a particular site, right?
He said, one of the things that was really interesting, he said, and in general, also the general quality of the site, that can matter a lot of how these, how many of these are crawled or not, how many of these are crawled but not indexed, you see in Search Console. So basically telling you if you see a lot of crawl but not indexed, that could be a signal that Google's looking at your website as not quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you better believe it.
Super interesting.
Any of those local SEO strategies out there that you have all of your clusters of cities around your entire state all using the exact same content, right? And not seeing it being indexed, I think you get a problem there.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
Problem.
So check that out, because this was what was interesting. This is a perception of Google, and this is what they're speaking of now. Is their narrative is actually how Google perceives things, and it's not nearly metric based. It's really, ethereal.
Well,
right?
It's metric based, but it's trying to produce a quality assessment.
It's how Google feels about you. Google.
Oh, Google.
Any final words?
Google.
Any final words for this podcast, Morty?
I want you all to meet me in front of Bryant Park in your flashiest Technicolor robe, and let's start screaming Google
Can we
at
shout
random people.
Can we shout Bing and see how long it takes us to get removed? All right. That's it for the Edge. Thank you very much for your participation, Morty. As always, we always
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. And Jake, thanks for manning the deck, and also giving a shout out to the voice talent in the world, because
That's right.
It's coming for them.
It is.
It's coming for them.
I know,
All right.
Scary.
That's it for the Edge this week. Make sure that you check out our interview series, as we are dropping the Michael Luetis episode very soon here. So the first of 3. So check that out. I had a great discussion about authentic and fact-based content. And boy, that was a good ride there. Be sure to like and subscribe us to our YouTube channel. But on top of everything else, go over to edgeofthewebradio.com and check out our show notes as well as the advertisers that are on the show notes, because that's how they know that you found them here. They're wanting to make sure that you have a great week in digital marketing. So for all of us over at The Edge, stay safe, stay well, and do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.